kids. This is Grandma or Dama, depending on which kids you are. I'm going to read the Berenstain Bears Say Their Prayers. And here's a picture of them saying their prayers at bedtime. And here are the first 2 pages. It was bedtime in the Bear family's treehouse. Bedtime after a long, busy day. Little Honey Bear was already asleep in her crib. Brother and sister were ready for bed too. They were bathed and they had their pajamas on. Mama and Papa were done reading them their bedtime stories. But there was one last thing to do before they went to sleep. It was time for brother and sister to kneel down beside their bunk bed and say their prayers to God. Bless Mama, bless Papa, bless Honey Bear, bless Grizzly Gramps, bless Grizzly Gran, bless Cousin Fred, Uncle Willie, and Aunt Min. See, here's Honey Bear in her crib. They have a baby now. Okay, so now the next 2 pages are these. Some evenings they added a few more blessings, like bless our friends Lizzie and Barry, or bless Teacher Jane and Teacher Bob. But when they started adding bless Mayor Honeypot and Police Chief Bruno, Mama and Papa decided to draw the line. Mama and Papa were falling asleep before the Cubs' prayers were over. Tonight, when Mama and Papa were giving the Cubs their goodnight kisses, Brother asked a question. It was a question he had been thinking about for a while. Mama, he said, why do we say prayers before we go to sleep? I was at Barry Bruin's house for a sleepover last week, and he doesn't say prayers at all. Some people just don't believe in saying prayers, said Mama, but we pray at night so we can thank God for the blessings of the day. Do you and Papa always say your prayers before you go to sleep? Asked Sister, half asleep in the upper bunk. Not exactly, said Mama. These days, Mama and Papa were so tired at bedtime that they just flopped down and were snoring almost before their heads hit the pillow. But I think it would be a good idea if we got in the habit again. Mama nudged Papa. Don't you agree, Papa? Huh? He said, trying to stay awake. Oh, right, absolutely. See, Mama and Papa are so tired by the end of the day. Okay, and here's the next 2 pages. Good night now, said Mama. Sweet dreams. Thought Brother as he drifted off in the sleepy darkness. Mama's answer was okay, but he still had a few questions. The next morning, Brother and Sister were up bright and early. Their team was called the Sharks. They had a cool logo on their shirts, a big shark mouth full of sharp teeth. So what's a logo? It's a picture that stands for something. So see here, that's the logo of their team. Their team is called the Sharks. The next morning, Brother and Sister, I feel hot today, said Sister, tying her shoes. I feel a whole lot of hits and stolen bases coming on. Oh yeah, snorted Brother. What about home runs? I guess I'll have to take care of that department. Sure, said Sister, punching him in the arm. Brother Bear, the home run king, she ran, laughing out of the room, with Brother Bear chasing her. Sister and Brother liked playing on the same team, but sometimes they got just a little too competitive. And competitive means when you really want to win, where it's very important to you to win. Okay, and here they are at the baseball field. After breakfast, the whole family headed down to the ball field. Brother and Sister had practice before the game. It was Mama and Papa's turn to help with the snack bar. Papa was going to cook the hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill. Mama was going to sell candy and popcorn. Even Honey Bear would help out. It was her job to eat the leftover cotton candy. Papa soon had the grill behind the snack bar fired up. Mama opened up the candy stand and Honey Bear started getting into the cotton candy. Okay, see? And you know what a snack bar is? It's a place where they sell snacks, which are small things to eat, not usually a whole meal, but just a little something. Okay, here are the next couple of pages. The team ran out on the field for practice. Brother was playing shortstop and sister was at second base. Up on the mound, Cousin Fred would handle the pitching. Fred was a solid pitcher. The pitcher is the one who throws the ball to the batter. But he had been struggling of late. His last 2 games were pretty shaky. Today they were up against the Pumas. The Pumas' uniforms weren't quite as cool as the Sharks, but the Pumas were one of the best teams in the league. The Sharks would have their work cut out for them. Since the Sharks were the home team, the Pumas were up first. Their leadoff batter was a big, powerful cub about twice Brother's size. He was twirling 6 bats around his head in the warm-up circle as if they were a bunch of twigs. "Uh-oh," said Brother, "look who it is." Sister gulped. That means you went, oh, like that. It was the Beast, the Puma's best player. He could hit and field and pitch. They didn't know his real name. They just called him the Beast. And a beast is a wild animal. Brother glanced over at Fred on the mound. He had noticed too. He was taking off his hat to wipe his forehead. He looked pretty nervous out there. "Play ball," called the ump, and the game was on. Now, the other team that's called the Pumas, a puma is a big cat, and that is supposed to look like the paw print of a big cat. So that's their logo or picture that stands for their team. Okay, and now they're playing baseball. The Beast picked out a bat from his bunch and stepped into the batter's box. He took some warm-up swings and pounded his bat on the plate. He glared at Fred on the mound. Glaring means frowning or looking mad, like "Urgh." Brother noticed that Fred wasn't glaring back. In fact, he was standing quite still. His head bowed and his hands folded. So hands folded as his head bowed is like this. It looked like his eyes were closed and his lips seemed to be moving. "Psst, Fred," called Brother. "What's up?" But Fred didn't answer. He straightened up, took a deep breath, and went into his wind-up. He fired a fastball. There was a swish and a thump. The Beast had missed. "Strike 1, called the ump. "Way to go, Freddie baby," yelled Brother. "That's the way to pitch him in there. Just 2 more like that. You can do it." Okay, game's still on. It was the sort of thing you always yell to encourage the pitcher. But did Brother really believe that Freddie could do it? It turned out that Freddie could. There was another swish and another thump. "Strike 2, yelled the ump. Another swish and a thump. "Strike 3, called the ump. "You're out." The batter had gone down swinging. The crowd in the stands cheered. The Beast kicked the dirt in disgust as he trudged back to the dugout. Disgust is when you're angry and you don't like something and you just don't want it. You don't want it near you. Fred didn't look nervous anymore. Now it was the batter's turn to look nervous. Fred threw 6 more fastballs to 2 more batters. There were 6 swishes and 6 thumps. Cousin Fred had struck out the side. So Fred's doing well. He's playing a good game. "That was some pitching, Fred," said Brother, later on, as they sat on the bench waiting to go up to bat. "Thanks," said Fred, but there was something else on Brother's mind. "I was wondering, Fred," began Brother, "what were you doing out there with your head down like that? Remember, he was like this?" "Oh," shrugged Fred, a little embarrassed. A shrug is like this. "I was just praying." "Praying," said Brother in surprise. What were you praying for? Strikeouts? Before Fred could answer, it was his turn to bat. He trotted out of the dugout, leaving Brother still wondering. So, what was he praying for out there? We don't know yet. We're going to find out. Okay, still having the baseball game. By the end of the game, Papa had cooked 33 hamburgers and 47 hot dogs. That's a lot. Mama had sold 3 dozen lollipops and 4 boxes of chocolate bars. Oh, that's a lot. And Honey Bear was very, very sticky. The Sharks were in a sticky spot too. They were behind by 1 run with 2 outs and a man on base. The man was Sister. She had gotten to first on a walk and then stolen second. She was a feisty little player. What does feisty mean? Feisty means that you're energetic and you're willing to fight. You're willing to try hard. Now it was Brother's turn to bat. If he could get a hit, the Sharks might tie it. If he got a home run, they would win. The Pumas pitcher was none other than the Beast. As he walked to the plate, Brother felt a little sick. Talk about pressure. Okay, here we go. Before he stepped into the batter's box, Brother decided to do something he had never done in a baseball game. He bowed his head, that's bowing your head, closed his eyes and said a prayer. Dear Lord, he prayed, please let me get a hit. Feeling a little more confident, Brother stepped up to the plate. The Beast wound up and let it fly. Brother didn't even see it. Strike 1, called the ump. Brother gripped the bat tighter. He'd get the next one. Another scorcher screamed past. Strike 2, called the ump. Brother clenched his teeth. That's like this. He was definitely not going to let this next pitch get past him. The Beast wound up, the ball flew, and Brother swung hard. Swish, thump. Strike 3, bawled the ump. You're out. The game was over. The Sharks had lost, and Brother had struck out. So Brother and Sister and Cousin Freddie's team has lost. They lost the game. Uh-oh. Let's see what happens next here. Whoops. Okay. So now they're talking about it. Way to go, Home Run King, shouted Sister in disgust. She's mad. She was angry that all her efforts to get on base had gone to waste. Brother trudged back to the dugout, his head hung low. He had never felt so awful in his life. Later, as he packed up his things, he found Fred standing next to him. Don't let it get to you, Brother, said Fred. That was a tough game. The Pumas are a good team. Yeah, agreed Brother. I tried everything. I even tried praying like you did when you struck out the Beast, but it didn't work for me. Really, said Fred. What did you pray for? I prayed for a hit, naturally, said Brother. Oh, said Fred, rubbing his chin. I see. Why, asked Brother, what did you pray for? I just prayed that I wouldn't get too scared, said Fred simply. Brother blinked at him. I guess your prayer was answered. Prayers are always answered, said Fred. Sometimes we just don't get the answer we expect. Say, he added, sniffing the air, do you smell something burning? Uh-oh, look what's happening. There's a fire on the barbecue. That's when they noticed the column of thick black smoke rising from behind the stands. The snack bar, they both yelled and ran for it. And a column is a thing that goes up and down, shaped like this. So the barbecue had smoke coming up like that. The smoke was coming from a batch of burning hot dogs on the grill. Papa was covered with soot and was trying to put the fire out with his hat. Mama came running up with a fire extinguisher. A few good squirts and the flames were under control. Honey Bear was laughing and clapping. boy, coughed Fred, waving the smoke away. Maybe we should have prayed for rain. This is a fire extinguisher, and they're always red like that. I have one in my kitchen in case I have a fire on the stove. And most people, or a lot of people, do keep one in their kitchens. Okay, so here they are at bedtime. That evening at bedtime, brother and sister knelt down beside their bunk bed to say their prayers. Tonight they felt like a nice long one. Bless Mama, bless Papa, bless Honey Bear, bless Grizzly Gramps, bless Grizzly Grand, bless Cousin Fred, Uncle Willie and Aunt Min, bless our friends Lizzie and Barry, and bless Teacher Bob, and so on. When they were finished, brother and sister woke Mama and Papa up and climbed into bed. Mama and Papa kissed them good night, turned out the light, and went downstairs. Mama and Papa are so tired. They've had such a busy day, including dealing with a fire. Okay, now brother and sister are talking. As brother lay drowsily, that means he feels sleepy. In his bed, he started thinking over the day's baseball game. If only he had been able to get that hit, or even a home run. That was a tough game today, wasn't it? He said to sister up on the top bunk. Yeah, answered sister. Tough on you, Mr. Strikeout King. What's that supposed to mean? Said brother, glaring up at the bottom of her bunk, because remember, she sleeps on top and he sleeps underneath. I played my best. A strikeout like that could happen to anybody. But sister didn't answer. She was fast asleep. Brother rolled over and ground his teeth. Like that he's mad. Sometimes Sister Bear made him so angry he could just... But then he thought of something. He thought of another prayer. Dear God, he prayed, please help me out with my little sister. And to his surprise, he found his prayer had been answered. He didn't feel angry anymore. Thanks for the help up there, he said, and with a sigh, he fell asleep. I like to pray. I enjoy it. And what I think it means is not that I will get what I want, but that I will never be alone. God is always with me, and when I pray, that's my way of speaking to him and listening. So thank you for listening to me tonight. Talk to you soon. Bye.